Wednesday, July 15th, 4 p.m., Makati City. The doors of the Glorietta Activity Center slowly swing open. Inside, thousands wait in anticipation. Then, a 21-year-old left-hander steps into the spotlight, not just to greet a crowd, but to face an entire nation watching her every move. This isn't just an appearance. It's a moment that could become history.
Does Alex have other hobbies? I don't have really other sport hobby.
The homecoming the Philippines has been waiting for what happens when a young tennis player captures the heart of an entire nation without lifting the championship trophy. On July 15th, all eyes will be on Makati City. As the doors of the Glorietta Activity Center open, thousands of excited fans are expected to gather for one unforgettable evening. They won't be there to celebrate a Grand Slam title. They'll be there to welcome home a player who has already achieved something just as meaningful. She has inspired a country to dream bigger. Only days earlier, Alex Eala walked off the grass courts of Wimbledon after an emotional round of 16 defeat. Every athlete dreams of going further, and losing on one of tennis' biggest stages is never easy. Yet, instead of disappearing from the spotlight, Alex found herself becoming the center of an even greater story. Her remarkable Wimbledon campaign introduced millions of new fans to a fearless style of tennis. Match after match, she displayed confidence, determination, and composure against some of the sport's toughest opponents. Around the world, commentators began speaking her name with genuine excitement. Then something extraordinary happened. Social media exploded with praise from tennis legends, journalists, and fans. One of the sport's most recognizable champions, Maria Sharapova, described Alex as a star, a simple statement that carried enormous weight. For a young athlete who once looked up to players like Sharapova, the recognition symbolized how far she had come. Back home in the Philippines, the excitement reached another level. Filipino supporters proudly filled Wimbledon with flags, cheers, and unwavering belief. Even after her tournament ended, their support never faded. Instead, it became stronger. Alex responded with a heartfelt message thanking everyone who stood beside her throughout the incredible journey. That message reminded everyone why so many people admire her. She wasn't talking about disappointment. She wasn't making excuses. She was expressing gratitude. Only a few days later came another surprise. Globe Telecom announced a special homecoming celebration that would allow fans to meet Alex in person at the Glorietta Activity Center. The event immediately sparked excitement across social media as supporters prepared to welcome one of Philippine sport's brightest stars. The announcement wasn't simply another promotional event. It reflected something much bigger. Companies rarely organize large public celebrations unless they believe an athlete has become more than just a successful competitor. Alex Eala has become a symbol of possibility for an entire generation of young Filipinos. Children who once dreamed of becoming basketball players are now picking up tennis rackets. Parents are discovering a new sport to watch with their families. Young athletes are realizing that the world's biggest tennis stages are no longer impossible destinations for Filipinos. That may be Alex's greatest victory so far. Her success has changed the conversation. Just months ago, many casual sports fans were still discovering her name. Today, thousands eagerly wait for every match, every interview, and every update from her journey. The excitement surrounding her homecoming proves that this is no longer just about rankings or tournament results. It's about belief. Every great sporting nation remembers the moment when one athlete inspired a new generation. For many Filipinos, Alex Eala is creating that moment right now. As the countdown to July 15 continues, anticipation grows with every passing hour. Fans aren't gathering simply to meet a tennis player. They are gathering to celebrate hope. They are gathering to thank someone who proudly carried the Philippine flag onto one of the world's greatest sporting stages. And perhaps most importantly, they are gathering to remind Alex that regardless of what happened at Wimbledon, she has already won something no trophy can measure: the respect, admiration, and love of an entire nation. But this emotional homecoming is only the beginning. Because once the cheers fade and the cameras stop rolling, Alex Eala will return to competition with even greater expectations than ever before. And that's where the next chapter of her remarkable journey truly begins. A homecoming no one saw coming. Imagine falling just one match short of a Wimbledon quarterfinal, only to return home and discover that an entire nation is waiting to celebrate you anyway. That is a remarkable story unfolding around Alex Eala. On the afternoon of July 15th, Makati City will become the center of Philippine tennis. Long before the program begins, fans are expected to line up outside the Glorieta Activity Center, many wearing Philippine colors, carrying banners, and hoping for a chance to see the young woman who has changed the way the world looks at Filipino tennis. This isn't a championship parade. It isn't a trophy presentation. It's something far more meaningful. It's a homecoming for a player who proved that dreams once considered impossible are now within reach. Only days earlier, Alex Eala was competing under the bright lights of Wimbledon, facing one of the toughest fields in professional tennis. Every point mattered. Every game carried enormous pressure. Millions watched as she battled against some of the world's best players, refusing to back down despite the enormous stage. Although her incredible run eventually came to an end, the result told only a small part of the story. Sometimes, sports create moments that go far beyond the scoreboard. Alex's Wimbledon journey became one of those moments. Around the world, commentators praised her maturity. Tennis analysts highlighted her fearless style. Fans admired the calm confidence she displayed against elite competition. Every match introduced her to new audiences who had never before watched a Filipino player compete at such a high level. Then came the reactions that elevated everything. One of tennis' biggest icons, Maria Sharapova, publicly described Alex as a star. Those two words quickly spread across social media, reaching millions of fans. Coming from someone who inspired an entire generation of tennis players, the compliment carried enormous significance. For Alex, who grew up watching champions like Sharapova, it represented more than recognition. It symbolized acceptance into the highest level of the sport. The praise didn't stop there. Former champions, sports journalists, broadcasters, and fans from every corner of the tennis world began talking about the young Filipino who had captured everyone's attention during Wimbledon. Back home, the excitement became impossible to ignore. Filipino supporters proudly filled the stands in London with flags and cheers. Thousands stayed awake through the night to watch her matches despite the time difference. Social media timelines filled with messages of encouragement before, during, and after every match. Even after the tournament ended, those messages never slowed down. Alex herself acknowledged the incredible support by thanking Filipino fans for standing beside her throughout her Wimbledon journey. Rather than focusing on disappointment, she chose to express gratitude. That simple gesture reminded everyone why she had become such a beloved figure. She represents humility as much as talent. Only a short time later came another announcement that surprised many tennis fans. Globe Telecom revealed plans for a public homecoming event at the Glorieta Activity Center, giving supporters an opportunity to welcome Alex back to the Philippines. Almost immediately, excitement spread across social media. Fans began making plans. Families discussed traveling to Makati. Young tennis players dreamed about seeing their hero in person. The event quickly became more than a simple fan gathering. It became a national celebration. Think about what this really means. Large public events like this aren't organized overnight without confidence that people will show up. Companies invest in experiences when they believe an athlete has become a symbol that connects with millions. That says everything about where Alex Eala stands today. She is no longer simply one of the country's most promising athletes. She has become one of Philippine sport's most recognizable faces. Her influence now reaches far beyond the tennis court. Young children who had never considered tennis are asking their parents for rackets. Local tennis clubs are seeing growing interest. Schools are celebrating her achievements. Families who rarely watch tennis now know tournament schedules by heart. That kind of impact cannot be measured by rankings alone. It is measured by inspiration. Every great sporting nation has defining athletes who inspire the next generation to dream bigger than the generation before them. For basketball, there were icons who transformed the game. For boxing, there were champions who united the nation. Now, tennis has found its own source of inspiration. And perhaps the most remarkable part is Alex's age. At just 21 years old, her story is still being written. Most athletes spend years trying to earn worldwide recognition. Alex has achieved it while still developing her game. That makes her future even more exciting. Because Wimbledon may not represent the peak of her career. It may simply be the beginning. As July 15th approaches, anticipation continues to build. The fans gathering in Makati won't simply be welcoming home a tennis player. They'll be celebrating perseverance. They'll be celebrating courage. They'll be celebrating a young Filipino who refused to believe that the world's biggest stages belonged only to athletes from traditional tennis powers. Most importantly, they'll be reminding Alex that victories aren't always measured by trophies. Sometimes they are measured by the people you've inspired, by the children who now believe they can follow your path, by the families who proudly wave Philippine flags because of what you've accomplished, by an entire nation that now watches tennis with a different kind of hope. The applause waiting inside Glorietta won't erase the disappointment of Wimbledon, but it will send a powerful message. It will remind Alex Eala that while tournaments eventually end, the impact she has made on Philippine sports is only beginning. And once the cheers fade, the cameras turn off, and the celebration comes to an end, another challenge will be waiting. The hard court season, new opponents, even greater expectations. Because after Wimbledon, Alex Eala is no longer viewed as an underdog. She is now one of the most closely watched young stars in world tennis. And that changes everything.